houseplant lighting and everything you need to know about lighting for your indoor plants. I'm going to go a little bit deep into the different types of light and then understanding some of the things that make up light, different factors to consider. I don't want you to get too caught up on all of these details, but it is good to have this information in the back of your brain when you are working on picking the best places to put plants in your home. So, light is one of the most essential things for plant growth. You need water, oxygen, and light. Um, every plant needs some kind of light, even plants that are sold that are low light or can survive in a dark room. A lot of times that's a bit exaggeratory, and while they might survive in a dark corner, they're not going to really thrive or grow without any light whatsoever. So, I want to talk about the different types of light so you can give your plants the best possible conditions and just understand why someplace that you think might have great light might not actually be that great for your plants. Okay, so the first type of light is natural light. And for a houseplant, this would mean sunlight coming in your window. So here's a breakdown. Different plants, a lot of times will have a tag on them when you get them saying that they need indirect or direct sunlight. Here's what that really means. Direct sunlight is full sun exposure. That is hard to get indoors, and that would be if it was in a window, not blocked by a shade, blinds, no porch over the window, no awning over the window, and it would really need to be like a south facing window so the light was coming directly through the window and hitting your plant. That's the only way an indoor plant is going to get direct sunlight. What is much, much, much more common for a houseplant is indirect sunlight. So this could be a bright window like that that is filtered or diffused. So you might have a sheer curtain or blinds. You might have a porch or an awning over the window, so it's just not getting that direct light. Or you could put it in a, for example, east or west facing window that will get light through it, but the actual sun's rays are not like beaming straight at your plant, if that makes sense. Indirect sunlight could also be a plant that is maybe a foot away from a south facing window. You know, it's just not getting hit directly with the sunbeams, but it's still getting plenty of bright light. Indirect bright light is what most indoor tropical house plants want. And just remember, in the wild, they grow in the rainforest sort of under the filter of all these tall trees. So they're getting filtered light. That's what you're replicating for your plants. And then the final category is low light. This would be areas with little direct sunlight. So it could be a north facing window, which just means the sun never shines on that side. So there's no sun coming through. It could be a spot away from a window or a shaded spot inside your home. Natural light is wonderful because it has a full spectrum of wavelengths, so it gives your plants everything that they need for photosynthesis. We're going to talk about the different wavelengths in a couple of slides, but natural light is the ideal. Of course, if you don't have natural light and you still want plants to grow and be happy, you can add artificial light. And this would be a man-made light source. It could be LED, fluorescent, or incandescent bulbs. LED lights are great because they're energy efficient, very customizable, and they last for many years. Fluorescent lights are great for seedlings and low light plants, and they're very economical. But incandescent lights are less efficient, put off a lot of heat, and have a limited spectrum. I do not recommend incandescent lights for your plants. Artificial light can supplement or replace natural light, especially in low light environments or during the winter. So I have some grow lights. I'll show you. I have a grow light that I use with seedlings, and then I have some lights that stick into pots that I add around my fiddle leaf figs in the winter because even though they don't move to a new window, they still feel sad, like they're not getting as much light in the winter, and they like to get bright light all year long. So seasonally is a great time to add artificial light. If you want to do an indoor greenhouse kind of setup, a lot of people do like the glass cabinets turn into a greenhouse, then you're probably going to want to add artificial light in there just to boost up the light inside a cabinet. And that's a great option for many people. So let's talk about the different elements of light. So we've talked about the two types of light, natural or artificial. Here's some of the elements that make them up. The first one is light intensity, and this is the strength of the light. Um, Different plants require different light intensities. Some want really bright, direct light, like succulents and cacti. Um, some want really low light, like snake plants, ZZ plants don't need a lot of light. Most of your houseplants are going to have a medium intensity, which means that they want bright indirect light. And that is the light that you have to find the perfect balance. Too much sun and they will get burned, not enough sun and they will get very small leaves or quit growing altogether. So, light intensity is a very important part of lighting for plants. Another important thing is light duration, and this is how much light, how many hours of light plants get in a day. And most plants want a cycle of light and dark. They want day and night. That is just what they are programmed to expect and to need. And these plants, certain plants can actually tell, like, when the day is getting shorter and the night is getting longer, they start to go into dormancy. Or maybe they start to bloom, like a holiday cactus sees that as a sign it's time to start thinking about blooming. So, short day plants like that holiday cactus need longer nights to flower. So, they are used to flowering in the winter and they feel those cold, long nights is what tells them biologically that it's time to get ready to create those flowers. If they do not get a long, dark night, they will be less likely to flower or not flower as well. There are also some long day plants. So those were short day plants. Long day plants are the exact opposite. So they grow most in the summer. So this is like your spinach, your lettuce, a lot of vegetables outside. They need longer daylight hours to grow and thrive. And then a lot of plants are day neutral, so they don't care about light duration. But that is something to think about, especially with those winter plants. If your poinsettias, chrysanthemums, holiday cactus, by that I mean Christmas cactus, Thanksgiving cactus, Easter cactus, are not blooming, they might not be getting enough darkness. So then the final thing to think about with light is the light spectrum. So light is made up of different colors and different wavelengths of light, including red, blue, and green. And the plants use the different wavelengths in different ways. When you bring in natural light from outdoors, it includes the whole spectrum of light. But when you use artificial light, you just have to be careful. Some of them have different modes on there, and you just want to be aware of what they are. So, red light tends to promote flowering and fruiting in plants. Blue light encourages vegetative growth, which is the growth of stems, leaves, and greenery. And then full spectrum light is going to mimic natural light and support your overall plant health. So, how do you choose the right light for your plant? In general, natural light is best as long as you can get enough brightness and duration of natural light. I suggest adding artificial light seasonally or on an as needed basis to supplement natural light, or if you really want a plant in an area that has low natural light. Remember to match your light intensity and duration to the specific plant's need. You also want to plant it to where the plant is in its growth stage. So in the summer and spring, they need more light than in the winter dormancy stage. And just remember those seasonal changes and changes in your room, where you want plants to go. They can't always go where if you want to plant in a dark corner, there's a few plants that can work, or maybe you should just get a faux plant, an artificial plant. Um, Remember, the plants are living things and they have needs that can't always be overlooked just because you want a plant in a certain spot. Remember, when you're optimizing light in spaces in your home, rotating plants is key to making sure they don't lean towards the light. Clean your windows, wipe off your bulbs if they're dusty to maximize the light. You can add mirrors or white walls or white surfaces to help bounce light out of the window. And my number one plant tip, always and forever, is to monitor plant health and adjust your light conditions based on how your plant is acting. If it suddenly gets sunburned, move it out of the light. If it's looking limp, getting small leaves, not growing very quickly, move it to a brighter spot. Like you can read and read all you want, but the most important thing is responding to the actual actions of your plant to make sure you keep it as happy as possible.